What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be talking about my 10 most wanted cards for NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. So these are cards that we did not get in NBA 2K20 MyTEAM, and there are cards that I really want to get. So from my last year's list, there's a couple of similar players, but from last year's list, a lot of my most wanted players like Lamar Odom and Chris Bosh came into the game. They were actually really good cards. So for me, these are cards that were either in previous 2Ks that I want to see back, or cards that we've never seen in 2K. So we're going to start off by, I'm going to go over 3 cards first that I think it's very unlikely that they're in the game, but I'm going to have to mention them because everyone kind of wants these cards. So first up, Charles Barkley. Obviously, Charles Barkley, one of the best basketball players of all time, an MVP, a member of the Dream Team, and he made the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns. So Charles Barkley is someone that's almost certainly not going to be in 2K. I think they have to donate something like $1 million to the Players Association or something for him to be in the game. Or if the Dream Team happens to be in the game, which actually once every 4 years, he was in 2K13, he was in 2K17. It might actually be his year to be in 2K21. Not gonna lie, because of the way, it might be his year to be in 2K21. If not, he could be in 2K22 because of the Olympics. But you never actually know. This might be his year to be in the game, so maybe he'll be in the game. But one person who definitely won't be there is Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller is not going to be in the game. The last time Reggie Miller was in an NBA 2K game was NBA 2K5. So I really do not think that Reggie Miller is going to end up in NBA 2K21. He would be a pretty decent player in game. Again, they'd have, I don't know what they do with him because everyone can shoot the ball on my team, but he would be a hyped enough card anyway. If he did get into the game, they'd probably do a LML ball on him and just give him the most ridiculous animations. Next up, we've got a guy who never played in the NBA. And the only reason I'm putting this guy on this list is because 2K have set a bit of a precedent with putting in the college players or even the guys that were over in Australia like Hampton and LaMelo. And also that the NBA draft won't even have happened by the time the game launches. And I do think they're going to launch with the draft players or the guys in the draft class as free agent players or or maybe a rookie might be its own set. But I think that something like that is going to, I think that that's going to be in the game. So there's already a precedent set for non-NBA players. I have a weird feeling in 2K21 we're going to see some sort of celebrities in my team. Don't ask me why, I have a weird feeling we see it. But also, the player that I'm going to be talking about here is Oscar Schmidt. If you guys don't know who Oscar Schmidt is, he is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. Arguably the greatest player to never play in the NBA. He basically beat a USA team in the Pan Am Games with David Robinson. I think Danny Manning was on that team as well. He dropped 47 points and beat him by himself. One of the best players in EuroLeague history, the best Brazilian basketball player probably to ever live, the best on an international level, the best to ever live, the all-time leading scorer in the Olympics. Fantastic player. And if there is a way of getting Oscar Schmidt in the game, I think a lot of people would appreciate it, but I think it is very unlikely. Now we are on to cards that we could probably get, but you just never know. I would really like to see these cards. First up is my actual favorite basketball player in real life, Boris Diaw. Man, I loved Boris Diaw for the San Antonio Spurs. The ability to change an entire game of basketball without taking a single shot. The fact that he is one of the most underrated defensive players in NBA history. Boris Diaw and LeBron James in the 2013 NBA Finals, he basically did the same job as Kawhi Leonard did in terms of stats wise. Boris Diaw was one of the most underrated players for years when he was in the NBA. So it's a pity that we have not seen him in the game since NBA 2K18. But again, he'd be probably a speed boosting power forward / center who could shoot the ball, who could shoot it from deep, play a little bit of perimeter defense, even though 2K are going to give him terrible perimeter defense, even though he was a very good defender. But my favorite player in real life is just someone that I really want to use. Next, we have got, from that San Antonio Spurs team as well, we have got Manu Ginobili. So Manu, again, one of the best non-American players to ever play basketball. Probably a top 75 player of all time. Anyone who's saying he's in the top 30 is crazy, but he's probably somewhere in that 75 to 100 range. In my opinion, that little bit better than someone like a Reggie Miller in terms of his career, but it's close. But Manu Ginobili, again, an elite player when he's in the NBA. 2K, he hasn't been great in previous years because his release hasn't been great, but at the end of the day, it will be very fun to use Manu Ginobili again, who has been in the game every year up until this year. We actually had a few different versions of Manu Ginobili last year, but this year we didn't get him, unfortunately. And then we've got one of the most forgotten players in the NBA over the last couple of years. So this guy right here was arguably the best, not arguably, he was the best player on that 09 Chicago Bulls team with rookie Derrick Rose that nearly beat the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. It was Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon was fantastic until he signed a contract with the Pistons and seemed to forget how to play basketball. But Ben Gordon was sixth man of the year. He was an elite player for them Chicago Bulls. I think that while in game, I don't think he'd be great. He'd be a little bit of an undersized point guard / two guard. It's just that we haven't seen Ben Gordon, as far as I'm aware. Was it 2K16 maybe? The last time we saw Ben Gordon in game? 2K15? I think 16, because even if he wasn't in the league, they had the free agents. But yeah, it would be nice to see a prime Ben Gordon card. Because I don't know, I'm not a Bulls fan, but I used to watch a lot of basketball back when I was a kid, and I just remember him just being able to go off at any given stage. Now we have got, in my opinion, one of the most interesting ones of all of them. It's Rafer Alston. If you guys don't know who he is, basically he is Skip to My Lou from And One. He is the most famous And One street baller. Actually, no, he was the most famous And One street baller, without question. In terms of fame, the Professor. A lot of people are like, oh, Air Up There, Hot Sauce, and all them. Maybe 20 years ago. Not right now. Skip to My Lou, Rafer Alston may have been the most famous 20 years ago. Not right now, because of the YouTube channel. A lot of everyone knows who the Professor is. So the Professor is most famous, but in terms of real life success, Rafer Alston has done the most. He basically was the starting point guard for the Orlando Magic team that made the NBA Finals in 2009. Basically, I know Jameer Nelson was there, but Skip was better pretty much for the whole playoffs. I think he started most of it because Nelson was injured. But the big reason why I really want this card is because of the fact they made such a big point about the pro stick and how dribbling is changing. If you've literally got an M1 street baller, they're going to give him the most cheesy dribble sticks. So I think that could be very, very good. Especially if dribbling becomes an effective way of playing the game. You better believe a Skip to My Lou is going to be an elite card in game. At least until they come out with the giant point guards. Then we have got the point guard for one of the point guards for the Redeem team, as well as the 2012 Olympic team. I was trying to make a couple of teams, like the Redeem team, and a big reason why I was this year, it should be good to make this team because we have Michael Redd in game and stuff like that. But no, they don't have Tayshaun Prince, who could be on this list as well, because man, the way 2K is going, the way the game is with his length, he could be an elite card in game. And Tayshaun Prince hasn't been in the game since 2K17. And this guy right here, Darren Williams, has not been in the game since NBA 2K18. So I think, did he have a Amethyst card that was his highest in 18 as far as I know? I think that's the last time I've seen him. But again, Darren Williams, 10 years ago there was a debate who was the best point guard in the NBA, him or Chris Paul. Evidently Chris Paul's had a better career, but at that stage, a lot of people were saying Darren Williams was the best point guard in the NBA. He had a very, very quick fall from grace. Apparently, he didn't take things like conditioning too seriously, and as he got older, that became a bit of a problem, but at his best was one of the best point guards in the NBA. And you better believe if he was in NBA 2K20, we'd probably see multiple opals of this guy. He was that good. But yeah, definitely Darren Williams is a card that I do want to see in 2K20 because we haven't seen him in 2 years. And also, as number 11, honorable mention, Tayshaun Prince wouldn't be a bad shout either. Next, we have got Rasheed Wallace here at number 9. Rasheed Wallace, again, he was just fantastic. He was a great player for those Blazers teams. He was a great player for the Detroit Pistons teams in 2004. Heck, even in 2010, he did a pretty decent job with the Boston Celtics when they were in the NBA Finals. In 2K, he definitely will end up being a stretch big towards the end of his career. When I started watching it heavily, he shot the ball pretty well. He came back, I think, for New York Knicks and played about 4 games or something. But Sheed is a player that we have not seen in my team since NBA 2K13. So it has been 7 years since we've seen Rasheed Wallace. I think it's unlikely we see him, but he would be a very, very nice player to get. because would be a kind of stretch big, especially if we got him early on in the year. He could be a great card before everyone becomes stretch bigs. Last up, we have got Meta World Peace Ron Artest. He is going, if we can get a prime Ron Artest card, especially early in the year, because you have to assume that the Clamps badge is going to be equally as important next year as it was this year. So if we get one of him early in the year, he will be one of the only players in the game to have like Hall of Fame Clamps. Again, had he not been involved with the Malice in the Palace, who knows with Ron Artest how good he could have had that in, how good he could have been in that 04-05 season. Like, he was one of the favourites to win MVP that year. He started off, he just won Defensive Player of the Year, was still the best perimeter defender in the NBA, and started off the season averaging like 25 a game for the best team in the NBA. So who knows how good he would have been then. But Ron Artest is definitely a player. We haven't seen him since NBA 2K18, and 2K18 he actually was a domination roid. So I would love to see him come back and be brought in early. I wouldn't actually mind him as a domination roid, not gonna lie. I think he could be very, very good in that role. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. These are 10 players that I really do want to see in 2K21. If 2K give us a few of them, 2K gave us, I think it was 4 or 5 on my list from last year. If we can even get Ginobili, DL, we probably won't get Rafer Alston or Rasheed Wallace. Rafer Alston's never been on my team. Rasheed Wallace since 2K13, probably won't see them. Or even if they could pull out a Ron Artest or Darren Williams, that would be incredible. Anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know it's not